Let's bring one of the savviest, most experienced politicians in America who knew about Joe's episodes and took heat for talking about it. Speaker Kevin McCarthy, thanks for joining us. What are the Democrats' option? And should we take Joe at his word that he's not leaving?
I think you should. I mean, in that interview last night, there were two main answers. And President Biden wasn't speaking to America. He was speaking to his party. One is the only person that is going to take him out of this race is God Almighty himself. That is the only person he'll listen to. And is he worried about losing? He doesn't care if he loses because he thought he gave his very best. The problem here is the Democrats, this is their Watergate moment. Who knew it and when? I've been talking about this for more than a year with my interactions with this president. And Brian, remember, I have worked with 4 different presidents, 2 Republicans and two Democrats. I know what it is like to have a real moving Oval Office, that you really feel that you're at the center of power of the world. At Joe Biden's, you never felt that way. I knew that you could have an advantage over him in negotiations like we did in the debt ceiling, getting $2 trillion in cuts, getting welfare reform. You disrupt him. He can't negotiate without his cards. But you know what? They have known this entire time that I knew as well, because we see proof of it. What did they do? They went along with his crazy ideas of keeping the border open. But also they changed the entire system to run for re-election. They made South Carolina the first state. They wouldn't allow people to challenge them. And you know what's interesting, Brian? President Trump is not leading because Joe Biden is doing bad. President Trump is leading because he has earned it. He had to go through the primary. Republicans challenged him. At the same time he was fighting to run for president, Joe Biden was using the political arm of the Justice Department to put him in court. I don't know of any other person that could sustain that. President Trump is more disciplined, a better political team, and he has earned the right to be president again, and he's better prepared for it, and he's more disciplined. That is why Biden is losing, right. But the real question goes to the Democrats, and this will go for a long time. Why did you cover this up for so long, and why did you change the political system? Because the Democrats would have found out about this a year ago if he had to debate other Democrats to get reelected.
Well, a couple of things. They knew about it, and they were going to allow our country to be led by a president that can't think clearly. And if he knows on some level he's not, or else he would take that neurological exam. He would put this all to bed. You would do it if people were talking about your intellect. You'd go, give me the exam. You want to worry about my health? I'll go do it. Get a treadmill going. But Paul Begala says the interview, this is a big-time Democratic operative, was necessary but not sufficient. It will not quell the growing anger and resentment among Democrats. Nothing short of Biden doing a Simone Biles triple flip with a double twist can make Democrats unsee that debate. So where do they go?
They have no place to go. This was a question that should have been answered a year ago. But they all went along with the joke, especially Kamala Harris. She covered up for him time and again. Anytime someone attacked his intellect or his ability to remember, they said it was a political attack. Even when you had something in the Justice Department that wouldn't try him because of his memory, the Justice Department worked against us to even allow that to come forward. So the real problem here is not only did the Democrats who work around him know it and keep it on all the Democrat leaders, but also those who are raising money for him, that told people to give, that he's okay, that they've been around him, but privately would tell people, he forgets my name. He forgets in meetings.
Mr. Speaker, James Carville said he's advising people not to give. And we understand that as early as Tuesday, Hakeem Jeffries is connecting with other leaders, and they might come see him with Schumer. Mark Warner, the senator from Virginia, is talking to other Democrats. They might come see him. So bring me in the Oval Office. You've been there so many times. They come in. They tell Joe, you can't win and you're not well. And he says, I'm staying. Play it out. What happens?
You know, I've been in meetings with them in there, too, and they never said anything to him. When I challenged them, they stayed quiet. They backed this president up, knowing he wasn't all there. They have done the same thing. Those aren't the strong enough leaders to remove Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the only one who's going to make that decision. But it really come down to Obama, Clyburn, and Pelosi, I think, are the only people that maybe he would listen to. But that decision's long ago.
Clyburn.
He was very clear last night. Yeah, Clyburn, I'm sorry, that he would stay in the race.
So, Mr. Speaker, you want me to stop it. Clyburn is the one who can do it. More than Warner, more than Hakeem Jeffries, Clyburn.
Look, Hakeem Jeffries has been a leader that's been quiet this whole time. He's gone along with the big lie. So has Schumer. They have gone along with the big lie. Anytime you question the president, they would attack me. And it's not just them. It's also those in the media. Morning Joe, he would attack me and say, this is the best Joe Biden has ever been. When the Wall Street Journal did a story based upon my interactions with him, they attacked the Journal. I mean, we have watched this again. All the media, and then you've watched all the Democratic leaders. So why are they going to go now and they're going to have to acknowledge that they've known all along? No, they made the decision a year ago to change the rules so no one would find out, and they're going to have to live with that decision. The real question to the American public is, why wouldn't they put America first? Why are they so beholden that they hate Donald Trump so much that they would keep Joe Biden in office? And if he doesn't run, he would have to resign. If he can't do the job going forward, he can't do the job now.
Speaker McCarthy, thanks so much for interrupting your Saturday and your weekend with us. This is extremely important, and you stepped up for us. Thanks so much, Kevin McCarthy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.